What is up guys, and welcome back to another video. This time I'm gonna show you one of my favorite FM basses for UK Garage. It's done in Serum and I'm gonna show you how to do it. Let's go. Okay, so we load up Serum and I have just programmed a simple MIDI pattern. It sounds like this, it's awful. Okay, so the first thing we do is for oscillator A, we find the shape called basic shapes, and we actually use the same one for oscillator B. We put down the octave to -3, so it gets like a really deep low end. For oscillator B, we put it to -1 in octave, and then we just turn off the level because we are using this oscillator for FM modulation of the oscillator A. So we go to this warp mode here and go select FM from oscillator B. Then we go to the filter settings, and I like to use the MG low 24, the cutoff to around here, enable it for the oscillator B as well. Then we put up the drive a little bit. Then we go to envelope 1 and put down the sustain all the way down, increase the decay to around here, and then have a small amount of release. And we actually want to copy almost the same settings for envelope 2. So put down sustain to almost 0%, put up the decay, and put up the release. And then we want to assign envelope 2 to this warp mode. So this is basically the FM modulation of the bass. Let's try to listen now. Okay, so it's really deep, but that's because of the low cutted filter. So we're also gonna enable envelope 2, assign it to this cutoff knob here, and have it to around here. Let's have a listen now. So we start to get like that really cool FM bass sound. So what you can do is that you can play around with this warp mode here and just increase it to where it sounds good to you. For me, it sounds really awesome right here. We can also use envelope 2 to modulate other stuff in Serum. So let's pull up a distortion, put down the drive, and then we can actually assign this to the drive knob here. So every time it hits, it gets some distortion applied to the sound. And then we can actually increase the master level a little bit. And then we can add an EQ just to boost the low end a little bit. And then we can try to do something a little bit wicked, and that is to enable a bell curve for the EQ, and then assign envelope 2 to the frequency, and then pull up the gain a little bit. So each time like the bell curve moves, and that's basically just to add a little bit of like high-end texture to the sound, but it's not that much. And we can actually play around with the cutoff filter a little bit. And I know this is a bass, but you can actually also add a little bit of delay and reverb, so add some stereo-ness to the sound. So what we can do is that we can firstly remove like some of the low end. So we don't want to apply delay at the lower end of the sound, just the top end, the mid-range. Let's just try to play with it. I adjusted the EQ a little bit because it was making like a click sound, and that's because the gain was turned up a little bit too much. Then we can add a reverb, and then we can just remove some of the low end and just have it like a tiny amount. And like, don't use too much reverb on your basses, just a little bit to add some stereo. So don't go too much with this, don't go too crazy. And then the last thing I want to add is just a compressor, just to glue together all the effects, and that's mainly like the delay and the reverb and also the EQ. So we just rearrange the effect chain here, set the compressor here, and basically I don't think I want to change any of the general settings. Then I'll try to play around with the gain, but then mind your level meters here so it doesn't go into the red and adds some unwanted distortion. Okay, so I think we have a really cool sound now. So the next one is more like an optional bonus tip, and that is to control the stereo field of the FM bass, because we added some reverb and some delay. So I want this to also sound good in mono, so we can just control that by using the plugin. So I assigned this to a mixer track in FL Studio, and then I load up the imager plugin from Ozone 9. And then I split up the bands here at around 150 Hertz. And as you might see, it's actually pretty mono, so we can actually just spread it out a little bit. So this one, the lower end, is just going to be totally mono. And then we can actually maybe increase some of the stereo. So we have a little bit of like stereo excitement happening. Okay, so that's actually the sound. And just by messing around with like the cutoff filter and this warp mode here, you can get a really cool FM sounding bass. Like going from a more soft sound to a more like aggressive sound. So I think this is a really awesome and powerful FM bass sound. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I hope you learned a little bit about how you can create your own cool FM basses in Serum for UK Garage or other genres. If you like this video, it means so much to me if you will smash that like button or even subscribe to the channel. I also have some sample packs and preset packs on my web shop, and you can go check them out. The link is in the description. So I hope to see you in the next video. Take care, peace.